Hi everyone, I'm Leslie Beck, a registered dietitian and the clinical director of food and nutrition at Medcan. Today I'll be talking about some really healthy diets that you might want to consider modeling your own diet after. I'm sure many of you have set intentions to improve your diet this year. Perhaps you've reviewed your personal health data and decided to lose a little extra weight, or to lower your blood sugar, your blood pressure, or cholesterol levels. I often see clients at Medcan whose goal is simply to stay healthy as they age. They want to make sure they're getting all the nutrients they need, and also that they're eating in a way that helps them lower their future risk of chronic disease. Perhaps some of you have set a fitness-related goal. Maybe you want to run your first 10K or half marathon in the spring. There is no question that optimizing your diet can help you accomplish each of these goals. And by the way, there's no rule that says you need to resolve to make changes to your diet at the start of the year. You can set diet-related goals any time of the year. At the beginning of each year, though, the U.S. News & World Report, which is a media company that was formed in 1948, it reveals its rankings of best diets for the upcoming year. 2025 marks the 15th year in a row that the U.S. News & World Report's Best Diets has been published. For this year's diet ratings, which were released in early January, 69 leading health experts, including dietitians, doctors, weight management experts, and nutrition scientists, evaluated 38 diets across 21 different categories. And these categories included best overall diet, easiest diet to follow, as well as best diets for weight loss, heart health, lowering blood pressure, diabetes, prediabetes, brain health and cognition, mental health, gut health, fatty liver, irritable bowel syndrome, arthritis, and menopause. So this isn't only about scoring diets that can best help you lose weight. Most of the diet categories focus on lifestyle goals or treating, managing, and/or preventing a specific health condition. And that's really important since we know that diet quality is a leading contributor to chronic disease risk and premature death. So how did this panel of experts rank all of these diets? Each panelist reviewed all 38 diets and then rated each one on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the best score possible. For the best overall diet category, diets were judged on how nutritionally complete they were, their health risks and health benefits, the ability to follow them for the long term, and their evidence-based effectiveness. The panelists also considered each diet's strengths and weaknesses, as well as the specific health goals each diet might be most effective at addressing. For the other 20 categories that focused on lifestyle or managing or preventing a health condition, the panelists were asked to pick the diets they would most recommend for each goal or health condition. And then the percentage of recommendations for each diet was converted to a 5-star rating. Okay, you're probably wondering what the top-rated overall diets were. Out of 38 possible diets, let's look at the top 4. Coming in 4th place for best overall diet was the MIND diet. It scored 4.4 out of 5. MIND stands for Mediterranean Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay. As its name suggests, the MIND diet is a blend of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. But importantly, it also includes very specific foods that previous studies have linked to brain health. The MIND diet was developed by researchers from Rush University Medical Center in Chicago. The diet first made news in 2015 when the first MIND diet studies were published. Those findings showed that following the MIND diet, even moderately, was tied to a slower rate of cognitive decline and a lower risk of Alzheimer's disease in healthy older adults. The MIND diet includes daily or weekly intake recommendations for 9 brain-healthy food groups. The diet also advises limits for 5 brain unhealthy food groups. The MIND diet also got top score, as you might have guessed, for best diet for brain health and cognition. All right. In 3rd place for best overall diet was the flexitarian diet, which earned a score of 4.5 out of 5. The flexitarian diet is a type of vegetarian diet, but it's not as strict as a vegan diet that excludes all animal foods. People who follow a flexitarian diet eat meatless meals most of the time and occasionally include meat in their diet. So non-meat proteins can include beans, chickpeas and lentils, green peas, tofu, tempeh, edamame, nuts and seeds, eggs, and dairy products. Red meat, chicken, fish, and seafood are eaten only once in a while. The flexitarian eating pattern also received the highest score in the best plant-based diet category. Okay, so let's move on to the second best overall diet. And this is the DASH diet. It came in second with a score of 4.6 out of 5. So it was pretty close behind the Mediterranean diet. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. In 1997, the diet became famous. It was proven to lower blood pressure in people with mild to moderate hypertension, even in the absence of any weight loss. Since then, the DASH diet has been consistently shown to lower blood pressure, and it's been shown to help lower blood cholesterol and triglycerides, to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, and even to protect against certain cancers. So what's in the DASH diet? Well, hallmark foods include vegetables, fruit, and low-fat dairy products, which are consumed every day. The recommended number of servings is going to depend on how many calories a person needs to consume each day. Nuts, seeds, and pulses meaning beans, chickpeas, and lentils, are also key foods. 4 servings a week are recommended. 1 serving is equivalent to a half cup of cooked beans or lentils, 1/3 of a cup of nuts, 2 tablespoons of nut butter, or 2 tablespoons of seeds. These foods, fruits and vegetables, low-fat dairy products, nuts, beans, and lentils, are excellent sources of potassium, calcium, and magnesium. These are minerals that are needed to help regulate blood pressure. The DASH diet also limits sodium to between 1,500 and 2,300 milligrams each day. Not surprisingly, the DASH diet also took home the top score for best heart-healthy diet and best diet for lowering blood pressure. And finally, in first place for the 8th year in a row was the Mediterranean diet, scoring 4.8 out of 5 points. The Mediterranean diet did more than win the best overall diet category, though. It swept the ratings by receiving top score in 11 other diet categories, including the easiest diet to follow category, as well as best diets for healthy eating, inflammation, gut health, mental health, prediabetes and diabetes, high cholesterol, arthritis, preventing diverticulitis, and fatty liver. If you're not completely familiar with the Mediterranean diet, let me first say that it's not a diet per se. It's an eating pattern that's been associated with many different health benefits, including a lower risk of heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, depression, cognitive decline, Alzheimer's disease, and certain cancers as well. The Mediterranean diet is plant-forward. That means it's characterized by a daily intake of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans and lentils, and nuts. The principal fat in the diet is extra virgin olive oil, which is very high in heart-healthy monounsaturated fats. Fish, chicken, eggs, yogurt, and cheese are consumed in moderate amounts, whereas red meat, sweets and pastries, butter, and highly processed foods aren't eaten very often. Herbs and spices, which are really good sources of anti-inflammatory phytochemicals called polyphenols, are used to flavor foods rather than salt. So those were the top 4 rated diets in the best overall diet category. There are a couple of other categories of note that I want to touch on as well. The first is the best diets for weight loss category. In this category, 3 diets were top rated by the panelists. Weight Watchers, the Mediterranean diet, and the Volumetrics diet were awarded first, second, and third place respectively. You may not have heard much about the Volumetrics diet. This plan was developed at Penn State University, and it categorizes foods based on their caloric density. So the Volumetrics diet emphasizes healthy, filling foods that you can eat lots of while still losing weight. You're encouraged to eat nutrient-dense, low-calorie foods like whole grains, lean proteins, fruits and vegetables, and then really limit your intake of calorie-dense, low-nutrient foods like foods with high amounts of unhealthy fats and added sugars. The second category I want to mention is best diets for menopause. And this is an important area of focus that's finally getting due attention. Here, the Menopause diet received a top score of 4.6 out of 5, followed by the Mediterranean diet at 4.3, the flexitarian diet at 3.9, the Mind diet also at 3.9, and the DASH diet with a score of 3.8 out of 5. While there is no official menopause diet, a menopause-friendly diet is one that's plant-forward, it focuses on whole foods, and it's rich in fruits and vegetables, beans, nuts, seafood, eggs, lean meats, and healthy fats. And as the top ratings for best diets for menopause suggest, there is more than one way to eat like this. Like the other diet categories, you have choices based on your personal needs and preferences. This is only a handful of 2025's top-rated diets. I will tell you, though, that all of this year's top-rated diets, like previous years, have a few things in common. For one, they all emphasize whole plant foods, fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans and lentils, nuts, lean proteins, and healthy fats, while at the same time limiting added sugars and saturated fats. Secondly, they all have solid evidence to support their effectiveness for managing or preventing a health condition or chronic disease. And finally, they don't restrict entire food groups or ban certain foods. That means it's more likely you'll be able to follow them for the long term. That's really important. If you're considering a certain diet, you need to ask if you can see yourself eating that way for the long term. At the end of the day, though, there is no single diet or eating pattern that's best for everyone, no matter how highly rated it is. You need to factor in your lifestyle, your cultural food preferences, and your health status when choosing a diet that's right for you. If your goal is successful weight loss, for example, a short-term approach or an overly complicated or restrictive plan won't help you keep the weight off. And long-term weight management requires more than just a dietary approach. It involves a combination of healthy eating, physical activity, and importantly, behavioral strategies as well. If your goal is to treat or manage a specific health condition, I do recommend checking in with a dietitian or your doctor to customize a diet to your specific needs and health condition. And if you're looking for a long-term diet pattern to follow to stay healthy over the years, there's something else you might want to ask yourself. Does the plan promote a way of eating that's good for your kids? If it's not healthy for them, it probably isn't for you. That's it for today's episode. If you'd like to connect with me and my team to discuss your nutrition needs or to determine an eating plan that's right for you, we'd be happy to chat with you. You can reach us at medcan.com/nutrition. And not to worry, we'll provide relevant links and information in the show notes about these diets and more. Thank you so much for joining us and have a great day.
This podcast episode is intended to provide general information about health and wellness only and is not designed or intended to constitute or be used as a substitute for medical advice, treatment, or diagnosis. You should always talk to your Medcan healthcare provider for individual medical advice, diagnosis, and treatment, including your specific health and wellness needs. This podcast is based on the information available at the time of preparation and is only accurate and current as of that date. Source information and recommendations are subject to change based on scientific evidence as it evolves over time. Medcan is not responsible for future changes or updates to the information and recommendations and assumes no obligation to update based on future developments. Reference to or mention of specific treatments or therapies does not constitute or imply a recommendation for endorsement. The links provided within the associated document are to assist the reader with any specific information highlighted. Any third-party links are not endorsed by Medcan.